Hi everyone, good evening. Welcome to week 2 of our AI literacy class. And welcome, Precious. I can see Precious and Surprise in class already. Welcome. Quick one. Were you both in class last week? If yes, you can just drop it on the chat box. If you were in class last week, if not, we can actually take introduction from both of you. Okay, I see. Okay, Lola just joined. Welcome, Lola. Okay, I got a chat. Let me check that, please. Okay, Precious was in class last week. Oh, so nice to have you. Thank you for coming back. All right. Um, I think I saw Surprise in class last week. If it was correct. Welcome, Lola. Were you in class last week, Lola? Welcome, Augustine Pobeni. Welcome. It's nice to have you on the call. I think I saw Mr. Augustine on the call last week. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. But are you a part of the Google Classroom, or have you been getting emails from us? Are you a part of that, Lola? If no, okay, you're part of it. Amazing. So you have all of the materials already for last class. So basically, you didn't miss a lot, right? So the recording is also on the class, so you can actually go through that. Yeah, welcome. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm getting some chats. Let me check. Oh, surprise! I was asking if you were in the class last week. You know, this is week 2 of our AI literacy class. So I was asking if you were around last week. Yeah. Oh, you weren't. All right. Are you part of the Google Classroom? Are you part of the Google Classroom? All right. Your type. You're not. All right. So after the class, I would add you to the Google Classroom. There you can get materials from last week and get acquainted with what we learned last week. I hope that's fine. Yeah, thank you. Okay. We have 4 people. Let's see if we can wait till 4 or 5 to keep class. Um all right, perfect. Thank you, Surprise. Yeah, I'll add you before the end of class. All right. Okay, so once it's 4 or 5, I think we can start so that we can cover all that we have today. Okay, amazing. Welcome, Olafui. Welcome, Olafui. Oh, Precious. Okay. You are not a part of the Google Classroom, but you get the emails. So I'm noting down the names, and of course, I'll get the emails from my end. So I'm noting it down already, and I'll be adding you that you're not on the Google Classroom. I'll be adding you so that you're a part of it. Okay. Please, as you're joining, good evening. I was just asking a question to know those that are on the Google Classroom and those that joined in last week. If you didn't join in last week, we have a Google Classroom where materials of last week was sent. So if you're not a part of it, you can just say that on the chat and I would add you from my end. That's not a problem at all. But we're going to, kick off with class already. It's 4:05, and I think it's a great time to start so that we can cover a lot in class today. Today we're going to be hands-on. I don't know if you got the mail, but I did, and it sounds interesting. So yeah, we have Tayo on the call already, and I think this is a great time to start. We have people in class. Welcome, Smith Dauda. I think you just joined. Welcome. And don't forget to drop it on the chat box if you're not on the Google Classroom so that I can add you from my end. Yeah, so that'll be all from my end. Please enjoy the rest of class as we bring Tayo up. Good evening, Tayo. Can you hear me clearly?
Hello. Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly. Yeah, you have the floor now.
All right, cool. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. How is our weekend going? You can unmute your, I'm not sure you will be able to unmute your mic. Well, how is our weekend going? Okay, Precious sessions. Okay. I think you have attended to that. So Glory, you can even you can get the class code, put the class code in the room so you don't have to be manually adding them. So put the URL to Google Classroom there. So and there's a bit where you can invite participants. So you can just copy the invitation link and drop it here, or just give them the class code. So if they have Google Classroom app on their phone, it will ask them for the class code. They'll put a class code. Or if they don't have, they should go on the web. You can go to classroom.google.com. If you have a Google email, it works best. So you'll be able to join the classroom so you can have access to class recordings and all the material. All right, so we'll jump into it. The session is being recorded. If anybody has need to revisit the recording, please do well to revisit it. Fantastic. Thank you for answering, Smith, about your weekend. Thank you, Precious. I'm happy your weekend is going well. Mine is also going well. I was in a brief classroom before now, and I'm like, oh God, how am I going to manage 2 classes? But hey, I can manage it. I'll probably watch the recording of that other classroom because I'm so much invested in AI literacy. Like my life depends on it. I don't know why, but I'm so much invested in AI literacy. All right, thank you. Thank you, Chidima. Yeah, weekend is cool and calm. Yes. Same here. It was like last week. It really rained last week. There was no light. We couldn't have access to gadgets. Internet was, erratic. It was just funny. So now that we have fairly large class, so let's get started. What if you joined last week? What do you remember? What did you learn last week? I mean, or what stood out for you? So I realized that anytime you ask people, what did you learn last week? It's like maybe the way we were brought up in primary school. So it's like if you don't remember anything, the teacher will beat you. And because you don't want to be beaten or you don't want to be, feel guilty, people typically shy away from answering when you ask them, what did you learn last week or what did you learn yesterday? So rather, what I'm asking you is, what stood out for you, or what do you remember, or what stood out for you last week? All right, we have somebody's hand up, and that's Augustine. So Augustine, please unmute your mic. I think I've been able to, I've asked you to unmute your mic. So please go ahead and speak. You are yet to authorize mic permission. So I don't know what device you're joining from. That permission that will say allow Zoom meeting to use your mic. So click on allow. So if you're yet to, because from my view, what I can see is, okay, now you're connecting with your microphone. Augustine, mic check. Okay, you can speak now.
Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear. Fantastic.
Okay. This is the power of AI. We are in it already.
Yes, Augustine, you were part of the NSC.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, fantastic. Okay, go ahead.
The analytic, what we did last year.
Oh, fantastic.
And I was equally part of this digital transformation. So I've been following very, very closely, very closely.
So you're a friend of the house. You're a friend of technology.
For me, my takeaway is the simulation of machine using human intelligence to solve lifetime problem. That's one of the biggest take I had last week. AI is really doing marvelously, and a lot of benefit from AI. I was even looking forward towards assignment and all that via the Google Class. I couldn't see any assignments, but I saw the recording. So not a good one, and not a bad one anyway. I will be moving ahead.
Okay, thank you so much, Augustine. Thank you. And today we're going to build on that knowledge that you have acquired since last week. I sent in some class material, some other video links, so I'm going to be asking us much more about them today. So Precious, you said it was an eye-opener to learn that AI has been around even before I was born. Yes, most likely before everybody on this call was born, AI has been around. So whether they were not very intelligent is another question, but AI has always been around, right? And thank you. I mean, when it comes to logic-based AI, rules here and there, AI has been around. So can any other person tell us what stood out for them? It could be from we posted some videos we posted some videos on Google Classroom that you should learn more about, you know, especially about computing, how computing came about. That was when we talked about, hey, I'm already giving you expo of what we talked about last week. So any other person, Precious has told us that it was an eye-opener that AI has been around before he or she, before they were born. Augustine has also told us what stood out for them. So please, let's get the conversation flowing. What stood out for you last week? What stood out for you last weekend when Sunday said he didn't attend the weekend class. Yes, it's today is the second weekend, so it's only last weekend you missed. So if you are not on the LMS, which is Google Classroom, please just signify, or you can reply on the last link, the classroom link, and give them the class code so you can have access to the classroom. So Glory, you can do that, or pin. I don't know if there's an option to pin it. Just pin that link and the class code to everybody.
I can't pin like I'm sending it.
You can't pin. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Not a problem. So Akinwale, let's go for it. I've asked you to unmute yourself. You're still muted. Can you please unmute yourself, Akinwale? Look for your mic and unmute yourself. Hand is up. Okay, so while Akinwale is attempting to unmute himself, if anybody remembers what stood out for them from last week's class, it could be from the live class that we had, or from, I shared about 3 videos where you need to understand how.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, Akinwale. Yes, I can hear you. Please go for it.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Good evening, Oluwatayo and Glory over there. Good to see you people once again.
Good evening.
Okay, so what actually stood out for me last week was the reality that AI has actually been something that has been with us a long time ago. That is just coming up, just that is just being brought to fore now. Most of the things that have actually been doing all this while, a lot of us actually thought it's just maybe ChatGPT or some other means of communication that we call AI. Meanwhile, we got to understand last week that AI, all those ones are just tools under AI. So it was really an eye opener for us, and at least for me in particular. So. And I hope to actually get more from this so that we know how to utilize AI more and more from now on.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Akinwale. If there's any goal that I was looking forward to achieving from this bootcamp, from this 3-week bootcamp, is, as the name denotes, literacy, AI literacy, just so you are more aware of what AI is and what AI is not. How long has it been around, right? And I'm happy that, Precious just confirmed that, she's now learned that AI has been around even before he or she was born. Now, Akinwale is also confirming that, now they know that AI transcends the ChatGPT. ChatGPT is an application, or it's a tool that is being powered by artificial intelligence. And I'm happy that literacy, that's evangelism I am out for, to say, hey, let's tell people more about this. ChatGPT is not your AI itself. Oh, thank you, Precious. ChatGPT itself is not the AI. It's leveraging on the artificial intelligence technology, right? ChatGPT, it's a tool. ChatGPT is a mouthful. They should change the name, really. I'm sure they didn't think it was going to be viral like this. If they knew, they would have changed the name. So thank you so much, Akinwale. Thank you, Precious. Thank you, Augustine. Thank you for telling us what you learned. All right, so I'm going to do a quick recap of what I taught you last week. I wouldn't say what you learned. So I'm going to do a quick recap of what I taught you last week. And I'm hopeful that it will juggle our memories and you will remember what stood out for you. All right, so last week we started talking about computing itself. I remember I talked about the graphics card that is the smaller, or is a very great example of how GPUs work. And how did we even get to the GPU conversation? We were talking about CPUs and How did we even get there? We're talking about the difference between human intelligence and artificial intelligence. We're talking about human, we have it naturally. It is instinctive with our cognitive ability. But for machines, for machines that are being trained to think like us, they have to depend on computing power. They have to depend on, chips. They have to depend on the GPUs to be able to think, process it, and give us an output or give us a response. So in thinking and all of that, that was when we now started talking about GPUs, and we talk about how mighty they could be or how large their workload is, and some of the other things that they need. They need electricity. They need to be powered on and on. They need water to be cooled down, right? And I sent the project Stargate to us on the classroom, where I was showing us the open AI data centers that they are building in Texas. Who watched that video? Now I will know. Anybody? Did anybody watch? Did you take out time to watch that video? Because it's really an eye-opener on what happens in the background of your ChatGPT, or what happens in the background of your Gemini, or what happens in the background of your Claude. All right? So please take your time. Any resource that we put out, it is for your benefit. I put out some resources around, okay, so what are chips? All right? Or what are AI chips? It's not fries, I mean AI chips, okay? So we talked about computational power. Then we delved into talking about the history of artificial intelligence. Who remembers the history of artificial intelligence? I know at least Precious should remember, because now she knows that artificial intelligence is dated far, far back before she was born. All right. So who remembers the history of artificial intelligence? Where did we start calling it artificial intelligence? Anybody? Anybody? Why did we start calling it artificial intelligence? I'm waiting.
Let me give it a trial.
Okay.
Artificial intelligence started with Alan Turing in 1950, and it has progressed from there till the 80s. I may not be precise the particular 80s, but it was in the 80s. It became broader, and that name, artificial intelligence, came in via all this machine learning, deep learning, and all that, to fuse everything into it. So it was in the 80s they gave it that name. In my own take, that's what I could remember.
Okay, thank you so much, Augustine. So yes, you are correct from the Alan Turing in the 1950s. However, the name artificial intelligence itself was implemented or was adopted in 1956. It was a conference. It's the popular conference. Anybody talking about artificial intelligence today, they will refer to that conference. It's a Dartmouth conference in the US in 1956. Before then, we used to call it intelligent machines, right? But then all the scholars, the researchers, everybody had a conference then. And that was when the name artificial intelligence was adapted. So yes, Alan Turing, the 1950s, then we went on to keep building logic-based machines. In the 1980s, we had some form of AI winter, and because there was really not a lot of funding that was going into that direction, and we didn't even have a lot of infrastructure that is needed to power artificial intelligence. In that time, we needed a lot of electricity. We needed a lot of electricity. We needed a lot of data sets. We didn't have a lot of applications, internet, websites like we have today. So there was limitation back then. But right now, remember, right now we're not all swimming in, accessing the web. We don't have internet. So we now have a lot of facility to power artificial intelligence. We now have enough electricity. If the electricity is not coming from the grid, we now have renewable energy. We have other sources of electricity to be able to power the systems that power artificial intelligence. I hope that is not tautology. So yes, and thank you, Augustine. It tells me you were really, really in class. Then we watched the video. Who remembers we watched the video, like a 15-minute video in class, right? We watched the video that actually walked us through the the evolution of artificial intelligence, the future or the predicted future of artificial intelligence, what may happen, how people may use it. We also talked about the inherent risk. We saw a video where Elon Musk was saying that, hey, artificial intelligence needs to be regulated. With whether we like it or not, it's going to be used as a weapon. The question now is, we humans, how are we going to use it? Are we going to use it for the good of one another or for the good of eliminating a common enemy? Or are we going to use it against ourselves? So those are the conversations around the risk, the governance, the regulation, blah, 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 around artificial intelligence. All right. So that's kind of summarizes a lot of things. That kind of summarizes a lot of things that we did last week. And of course, I showed us a particular agent that I have built for myself that sends out email on my behalf. So I want us all to also, by live, I want us to interact with that particular tool. I just dropped the link with us in the chat room. Access that link, click on that link, and let's work with. So I called my agent, I called it Voxella. So Voxella, the only thing Voxella does, or the only functionality I've empowered this particular agent with, is to send an email on my behalf. So I will just type to it to say, send an email to Augustine, then I'll give you Augustine's email address. If I wanted to make it more comprehensive, I could give it access to my directory where it has access to the exact your address. So I will just say send an email to Augustine, so it knows which Augustine and it sends the email. So think of agent as the progression that you already have today of your Siri, or think of an agent as progression. I'm going to walk us through the architecture of an AI agent. That is what makes an AI agent an AI agent, right? And so think of an AI agent like the name implies. Agents, largely you send agents on an errand and they deliver it on your behalf. The way the landscape is going is such that they will become autonomous. That is, they can reason by themselves if they encounter an encumbrance, or if they encounter something on the way to deliver the result, or to achieve their objective that you have set to them. If there's any challenge on the way, they will be able to reason by themselves. And because you've empowered them with tools, you've empowered them with a powerful LLM in the background, you've empowered them with so much other thing, with so many tools, they will be able to make decisions between, okay, should I switch between this? Should I do this? What if this doesn't work? What can I do? They'll be able to reason. That's when you start talking about autonomous agents, all right? From the word autonomy. If you give people autonomy, it means they don't have to wait for somebody's approval before they do things by themselves. So and that is another fantastic use case of when we talk about AI agents. So today you can all click the link in the chat room, access my AI agent, and let's take it from there before I start sharing slides. Then we'll go into the environment of what we will build today. So has anybody attempted to give it a chat? What did you come up with? So when you're chatting it, please tell it what you want to do, what the content of the email. You may not necessarily tell it the content, just tell it to send an email. Give it the email address you want it to send an email to. It will send an email from me as though I'm the one sending it. So yeah, somebody was talking. So what do you have?
I've opened it already and I want to put my email now.
Okay. So no, it's not for you to just put your email. Just tell it, say send an email to then put your email address. So send an email to, let's say, tayo@gmail.com. Tell her that I will be at her house by 10 p.m. She should prepare salad, blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is you want to put in the email, yeah, put it.
Okay.
You can send, because it's your personal assistant. So it's my own personal assistant, and I want to probably send an email to Glory. I can even update it to such that instead of me typing, I can give it a voice order, I can integrate it with my WhatsApp, and maybe I'm just chatting with myself, or I give it a name on WhatsApp and say, hey, Voxella, send an email to Glory, tell her to book a meeting with a client on Tuesday for 2 p.m., blah, 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 and it just makes my life easy. Let's assume I'm driving and I cannot mail Glory. my agent can do that for me. I will just tap a button, I'll use my voice. But in this case, the one I send to you, you have to chat it, right? So I want you to interact with it. Then let's take the conversation further. All right. If you have any challenge, any encounter, please just raise your hand and we'll look at it together.
I've done that already, and Voxella is telling me email has been sent already. So I want to check the email now.
So check the email. If you can show your screen, please do show your screen. Who is talking? I don't even know who's talking.
It's Augustine that is talking.
Augustine. Okay, Augustine, please share your screen so that everybody can follow along what you're doing.
It said, hi, we are less than 1 hour. This, okay.
Sorry?
It has not, it said it has sent the email to me already, but I can't really pick it out for now.
Check your spam or your promotions.
Yeah, I saw.
Because you don't have my email address. So if I'm not in your contact, do you understand?
Yes, I understand. Maybe I would check.
Any other person trying? Any other person trying to engage with Voxella?
Maybe I will try it again and see. Let me.
Yeah, try it again. While you're doing that, let me see. Let me share my screen. Any other person? Okay, somebody else hand is up. Anita, go for it. Anita, good to see you again. Hi, Anita. Oh, sorry, I should unmute you. Yeah. Anita, attempt to speak now. Anita, attempt to unmute your mic now.
Oh, hi.
Hello.
Hi. Good evening.
Good evening.
So yeah, I was able to try it out and I got an email.
You got an email. Do you want to show us your screen?
Yes.
Okay, please. Go ahead.
Okay, can I just send a screenshot on the chat?
That's fine too. And you can share your screen, but that's fine. You can share a screenshot.
I'm not sure I have access to do that.
Okay, you don't have access to send a screenshot. You should be able to.
To share my
says she did. I got an email, but currently none of my device that has the email bookmark. Okay. Oh, your chats are not failing. I'm seeing your chat. Lola, or how do you mean your chats are failing? Okay, that's why you came to Q&A. I see what you mean.
Okay, I got email from Twinkle Tayo.
Yeah, that's my email.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know. Were you the one that sent it, or it was the automatic response?
Maybe it's me that I'm here with you talking now. So it's obviously I didn't send it. I'm here. Yeah. I'm not sending anything. You know. So
I just sent the screenshots on the chat room.
Okay. All right. Let me check what we have in the chat room. Glory, can you please look at this person on the just give me a second. Okay. I'm trying to find your chat, Anita.
Okay, she already sent a screenshot though. I can see it.
I've seen it now.
Okay.
It's coming up. I think it has reminder Techlytics web.
Yes.
Augustine, can you please repost the price? Surprised she cannot find the link to the AI agent. Okay, so Anita says, okay, so hi, this is a Remember About Techly webinar happening today. We look forward to seeing you there. Best regards, all right, so you can, so Anita, what was the prompt you gave the agent?
So I asked it to send a reminder email to my email address, reminding the Anita about the webinar for today. So that was the prompt I.
Fantastic. So that's why it told us about webinar. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Anita. That was really, really that was mind blowing. Actually, somebody in class tried it. It's seemingly
I tried it too.
Who's that? Who did? I don't know what.
Glory Fidelis.
Okay, Glory. Okay, so did you get the email?
Yes. Should I share my screen?
Yeah. Put your screen for where you give it the prompt and how you got the email.
All right. Entire screen. Share. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, it's coming up.
So I told Voxella to send a mail to Glory Fidelis to help order a wig. So this is my mailbox now. This is the 1 minute. Let me open this in another. So this is the mail I got. Can you see my? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's
This
coming
is the
up.
mail. This is the mail I got. It's coming up
Okay.
here. All right. Dear Glory, I hope this message finds you well. Could you please assist me in ordering a wig? I would appreciate your guidance on the best options available. Thank you for your help. Best regards.
All right. Fantastic. So thank you, Glory. You can stop sharing your screen now. Okay, so we can, at least we've now been able to test it all out by ourselves. Of course, if you wanted to do something much more, if you want to do it something much more, complex, it's also possible. I just wanted, for the purpose of this is a beginner, it's an AI literacy bootcamp. Let's see the possibilities that AI agents can afford us. So I'm going to start sharing my screen now. We're going to start the business of today. All right. Please let me know once you can see my screen. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. All right. So I'm coming back to share my screen from here. I think my system is today. Okay, so today we're going to we were able to understand some basic concepts from last week. And all right, so I wanted to also mention to us that this is a part of the tester sessions that we typically roll out for all our programs. And today we're basically having bootcamp. We started last week, today and next week. We're basically having bootcamp towards this program that is called Building AI Agents. We're going to see more capacity that is available to us, as we go on in the bootcamp. So we have a Building AI Agents program that is coming up next month. And these are the options. Glory would drop the link to the program in the chat room. We have different programs in store, and we also have payment options or installment payment options available for each of our programs. So Building AI Agent for cybersecurity, this is also starting next month. One for process mapping and workflow design. Of course, if you're a business analyst, operations analyst, whether you're in mid-management position or entry-level position, wherever you are, you need to understand how to map processes and understand workflow design. You're a product manager, you're a designer, you need to understand how to use these things. If you're a virtual assistant, it's also helpful, especially if you help coordinate the activities or processes of operations in your company before you report to the CEO, whom you're probably doing a virtual assistant or executive assistant for. Right. So these are upcoming programs: Google Analytics, Power BI, Microsoft Excel, data governance. Data governance is a very amazing opportunity that is really, really opening up. In the emergence of AI emerging technologies, people do not know how to protect or how to have a robust data governance framework. Last year, the Nigerian Data Protection Commission, the commission responsible for regulating data privacy in Nigeria, still fined Fidelity Bank 550 million because they weren't adhering to the data privacy rules, right? A customer literally reported them that, hey, maybe I opted out of this. There are some emails that you get that you did not solicit, that they are unsolicited by you. You can actually report those people and they can get fined. So because of all of those things that are happening in this landscape now, a lot of organizations are looking for data protection officers or data stewards that will help them build and develop their data governance framework. And it is not a one-time thing, because we now have all of this happening. It is continuous. So it's a sustainable field also. Right. So today, our learning objectives, some of these learning objectives, we've covered it last week, but this is our learning objective. We're basically going to look at, maybe I'll just briefly touch on what machine learning is, what deep learning is, what neural network is. I'm going to touch about what NLP is and its importance. I'm going to talk about generative AI and large language models. So for example, all of us will probably just hear generative AI, LLM, generative AI, LLM. You don't even know what they mean. And, there are just so many abbreviations. There are so many professional technical jargons in the AI space today that you're probably overwhelmed. You don't know how to even distinguish. So today you're hearing generative AI. Tomorrow you're hearing LLM. Next tomorrow you're hearing NLP. Another time you're hearing deep learning. Another time you're hearing GPT. There's just a lot, and you're wondering what, why, And I'm going to attempt to differentiate between AI agents and versus traditional automation. So let's quickly delve into it. We've already looked into the history of artificial intelligence last week, so I'm not going to dwell on this. So let's quickly look into what machine learning is, what deep learning is, and what neural network is, in that order. If you want to remember anything about all of these terms, just remember them in the order of machine, deep, and neural. What did I say? Machine, deep, and neural. I know I'm not in a physical class and you cannot all unmute your mic, but I just need to be sure that you're with me. All right, so machine, deep, and neural. Machine, deep, and neural, MDN. Just think of it that way, MDN. Machine, deep, and neural. Now look at this pyramid here. The larger base or the larger family is machine learning. Now, maybe just imaginarily, not that we're thinking about, imaginarily think about it, that there's probably another fourth base here that is also larger. That is where artificial intelligence itself is. That is, artificial intelligence is a broad field, and like I explained last week, it's a field where machines are largely doing stuff that would naturally be done by humans. That is artificial intelligence in its way. So you can see it is very broad. Now, going further deeper, it's now the way you teach machines to learn patterns from data. The same way I would teach a child to say, this is bottle, or I keep calling this item a bottle of water. If I had another bottle, let's say Eva bottle, I'll still tell it is a bottle of water. If I have Aquafina, I'll still show it is a bottle of water, right? So, but do they look the same? Are they the same? No, they are not all the same, but are they similar? Yes, because the shape a Lacena bottle has is different from the shape an Aquafina bottle has. It's different from, do you understand? The shape and height, the content, some of them will have water, some of them will not have water, some of them will have water that is full to the brim, some of them will have water that is just mid-level, like that. But does it change? They are still a bottle of water. So your child would understand. If you say, if there was an Aquafina on the table and you're sitting down and you say, Junior, give me my bottle of water, he's just going to pick the Aquafina and hand it over to you. He will not start asking you which one, because over time, Junior knows what a bottle of water is. So whether he sees Aquafina, whether he sees the water in an unbranded jug or in an unbranded bottle, it is a bottle of water. Whether it is in a glass bottle, a plastic bottle, it is a bottle of water. So that is machine learning. They learn patterns from data. So you show them the image of cat, it's going to learn and you're going to show them many images of cats. The one that has whiskers broken, the one that does not have whiskers, but well, all cats have whiskers most times, you know. So they will learn over time. So basically, that is machine learning. That is computers learning patterns from data. Now, that is machine learning. You can see that the base of its own triangle is very broad. Now let's talk about deep learning. So think of deep learning that it's a branch within machine learning that is deeper in the sense that it largely mimics the neural networks in a human brain. Now I'm trying to see, I'm not going to assume that we all did, you know, those biology where we know that there are some electrical transmissions in our brain where we talk about neurons, you talk about, but I'm not going to look at that. So it uses neural networks with multiple layers. Just think of machine learning as it's more specialized than the generic machine learning. So you hear things like, oh, maybe a startup founder is pitching a solution to you. They are saying, oh, this solution uses deep learning to, don't let them bamboozle you, right? The aim of this bootcamp is for you to be more literate when it comes to artificial intelligence, so you can hold conversations. If you're an executive here or you're a decision maker in your company, whatever it's discussed on the boardroom, you are well able to understand it and translate it into blueprints, whether you are hiring a technology consultant or an IT consultant, and they start saying all of these things, you are not fizzled by them. You kind of can navigate your way through. Right. So machine learning, it uses neural networks with multiple layers. Then, like we just said, neural networks are building blocks inspired by the brain neurons. So the way I like you to think about it is to keep thinking about it as a big mansion that has many rooms, and different rooms have different purposes. You have maybe the cinema room. You have, again, I said it's a mansion, right? Maybe you have the cinema room, you have the master's bedroom, you have the kitchen, you have the pantry. They are all in the house, right? So it's a big mansion. In the big mansion, maybe you then have the living room, and within the living room, there is another section in the living room where you have the dining section. It's still within the living room. Maybe you then have the dining section. So keep thinking of it as, you know, subset of each other like that. All right. So this is a practical example that I put here. So traditional programming. So anybody that is a software engineer today, all of these things that we've been doing as a traditional programming, they largely built the building blocks for what we enjoy today and what we enjoy as an expression of artificial intelligence. So in traditional programming, you basically build algorithms, or so think of it that somebody that wants to bake a cake, you have the recipe with exact steps. Then computer follows that recipe. That's what happens in traditional programming. Then you have a result. But in machine learning, you largely show computer some examples. Remember when I talked about bottled water, you show computer some examples. Computer learns the patterns. Remember I said you learn the pattern of different kind of bottle of water I've shown to you. Aquafina, Eva, Swan, La Sena, all of that. Then, because I have learned it as a computer, from there, I'm able to create new bottle of water. So computer learns the patterns, and from there, it can create new recipes. All right. Now, deep learning now takes it further. Deep learning doesn't stop where the machine learning stops. Deep learning is a machine learning technique. However, like the name implies, it's deeper. If I'm going to use it that way, you know, computer learns, apart from, you know, being able to create new recipes, it then takes it further. It can learn to taste, to smell, and understand cooking principles, or understand context, or is more context aware to understand, oh, okay, Yorubas, they like pepper, but no, maybe the people in another part of the country, they do not like pepper. So that's you going deeper. All right. So that's deep learning. So let me not stay too long on this. So what is natural language processing? Probably you've been hearing NLP. Natural language processing, remember your Google Translate. Back in 2016, Google Translate was not this intelligence anyway, but I'm not even going to talk about language translations. NLP helps computer understand, interpret, and generate human language. It bridges the human communication and computer understanding. So that is why your ChatGPT, which is a tool that is being built on a large language model, it's able to converse with you. So the moment for example, when you were chatting Voxella, Voxella, my AI agent that I sent to us all, when we were chatting Voxella, you only said send an email to, I'm sure maybe Glory just said, send an email to Tayo or send an email to Glory to buy wig for me, right? That's the only thing. But when it was sending the email, it did not say, Glory said I should send you an email to buy wig. In fact, that's even impressive. But it was able to reason like Tayo and converse with Glory in the email like Tayo would have had that conversation. Give me a second. So largely it conversed, or it sent an email on my behalf to Glory as though I was the one. All right. So these are the key components of NLP: understanding, that is reading and comprehending text or speech; generation, writing human-like text, and these are the bedrock of generative AI, right? Writing human-like text; translation, converting between languages. Today, Google Translate or any other translation app is able to convert or is able to translate languages easier and better. We're still going to talk about, well, maybe not today, maybe in the class if you register for the classroom. We're going to talk about GPT as a technology that's a generative pre-trained transformer. We're going to talk about a lot of things that would really open our eyes to how these things work. Of course, in the real background, there is a lot of mathematics going on, a lot of statistics, probability going on. However, we will not bother ourselves with what's going on behind the system, what kind of computation is going on. We will not bother ourselves with it. We just want to understand the concept and how it benefits your business or how it benefits your enterprise, how it makes things better. Now, NLP is also what you will use to determine emotions in text. So you can use any tool that NLP is the technology behind, or is the process behind it to determine sentiment. So you plug in a tool to Twitter. Maybe you just did a brand campaign in your office, your Coca-Cola, you just did a campaign. Then you want to know how people are perceiving or receiving that campaign. How are people talking about it on Twitter? Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it neutral? All of this is being made possible or determinable by natural language processing. Summarization. For example, you've attended Zoom meeting where people put AI, read AI, fireflies, and it's able to listen to what everybody is saying, then understand what people are saying. Then there's also, there are a lot of more, there are another layer added to tools like that, because they also have speech to text. The speech to text is there where, because they heard you, they're able to transcribe it. They now know, they understand which one is action point, which one is barely just passing in the corner, which one is any other business, and they're able to summarize and give you the minutes of the meeting. All of this is fantastic. They are largely leveraging natural language processing. All right. So I believe it's very important to establish this. It's very important to establish this basis before we build. All right. It will help your understanding better. So generative AI and large language models. Okay. So I'm going to quickly talk about this. Generative AI creates, we've already seen that happening in our ChatGPT, your Mid-Journey, your Claude. So like the name implies, it's generative. It can generate new versions of text or of images or of audio, or video from what they have been trained on. All right. Now, the concept of language model, before we even go to large language, before we add large to it, the concept of language model is for it to be able to predict the next thing, especially text language, right? It's for it to be able to predict the next thing after. Again, it's probability. Now, before the boom of ChatGPT in 2022, we've had predictive text. Do you agree with me? I mean, yours. It has always been in Google. In fact, the technology that OpenAI was able to leverage and build a ChatGPT for us was built by Google, and that's the GPT. That's the GPT. That's the engine house behind ChatGPT. Oh, it's fantastic. The name is even ChatGPT. It's generative pre-trained transformer. So what language models do naturally is for them to predict the next thing, because they've been trained with a lot of data in their billions, a lot of text. So they already see a pattern. So they can easily predict to say, oh, if I said all the students were told to open, then I put dash. That is, I'm asking the computer to predict the next thing. It has read a lot of text and it knows, okay, so the context, it can break that sentence down to say all the students were told to open. So it has read a lot of text about students. So it will break it down, all the students, break it down. So you can see students open. So it looks at what it has been trained with. Okay, so I've been seeing students and open. So typically in my data that I've been pre-trained with, students and open, what typically do students open? So the output, or how is able to predict the next thing, it now looks at all those things. So typically what do students open? They can open their book, they can open their laptop, right? So it gives you, it then predicts, okay, so within book and laptop and any other thing that they open, which one comes higher? What's the likelihood, probability in this case, that this person wants to type? So if book is something that comes more often, then the person just predicts. So that's why you're chatting on Google, or you're texting on Google, or sorry, on Gmail, or you're writing an email, it can basically say, it can basically predict to you to say, all the students were told to open, then it suggests to you that, do you mean to write laptop? You know, the same way when you're typing or searching on YouTube, all right? Predictive, it's just a predictive mechanism. So basically that's the idea of language models. Then the large comes, I mean, the word large just means there's a billions and billions of parameters. Okay, so generative AI, LLM characteristic that is trained on billions of text, versatility, handles many language tasks. Again, that's why it is large language. Emergent, it develops unexpected capabilities. All right. So LLM predict the next word based on patterns from massive data sets. I just explained that. And these are their popular examples. We already have it. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and GitHub Copilot. All right. GitHub Copilot typically even helps developers code. Okay. All right. This is just a slide helping us to understand what is the difference between agentic AI versus traditional automation. So, so I do not assume that we all understand what automation is. Automation is you coming to this class today. We basically Glory basically sent booked a meeting, and we automated. That is, we didn't have to touch any button anymore. We just basically told it at specific time, send reminder emails to these people, and you all got it. We didn't have to lift a finger. All right. The same way when you go to a website, or when you sign up for something on a website, you automatically get an email. That's simple automation. That is, traditional automation follows pre-programmed rules. That is, it uses a logic. If this, then that. It's logic. It's limited to repetitive tasks. However, agentic AI, it makes autonomous decisions, adapts to new situations, plans, reasons, and learns from experience. I think I mentioned that earlier, that is, especially because agentic AI is an era of autonomous decision, and everything that an agentic AI system needs to thrive, we have it. Of course, we're also still emerging and learning and understanding things more, but things that agentic AI needs to thrive, just the same way as we're still understanding generative AI more. Of course, we've seen the massive things that VO3 is doing with Google. We've seen what Sora is doing. It's generative AI, and it's still sweetening us. We're still understanding it, right? So agentic AI is also coming up because the things an agentic AI needs to function well, they're already available. So let's look at what are those things that agentic AI needs to use to function well. But before I go there, any questions so far? Any questions so far?
Well, yes, my question has to do with, you sent us a Voxella. How can we create our own PA for email? I know this class is meant for one of the reasons for this class.
I'm trying to know who's talking. But either way, well, it's one step after the other. Precept.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Thank you, Augustine. All right. Any other question? Gloria, I sent you a message in the DM.
Oh, I'll check.
Not DM, like the DM of this chat. All right.
Okay.
Any other question? Any other question? Okay. So let's look at what do we need, or what's important for an agentic AI system, or what's important for you to know, or how do they work. Okay. I'm sharing my screen again. Let me know once you can see my screen. See my screen?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay. How about now?
It's coming up. Yes, it's up.
Okay. Okay, so let's look at the building blocks of AI agents. Now, you can see, just think of them as human. They are not human, but they are just agents, right? So look at this box in the lower chamber of the screen. Now, there are three most important things you should remember that makes up an AI agent. Then we'll talk about their interaction. Remember tools, the LLM, and memory. Tools, LLM, and memory. LLM is large language model. Now, let's go back to the example of Voxella. Now, the agent, what makes up an agent? What did I just say? I say tools, LLM, and memory, TLM, whatever it is you want, or MLT, whatever works for you. Tools, LLM, and memory. Now, the tools in this case that I have to give to that agent to work with is my Gmail account. So that's a tool. All right, that is already an application, because I need it to take an action. I have to give it access to that tool, which is my Gmail account, because it needs to send an email on my behalf. So that's the tools. LLM, in this case, the thing that is reasoning and using natural language processing to compose that email it's being powered by an LLM. In this case, by the time we go to the environment where we'll build the system, in this case, it is OpenAI APIs, right? Now, the third component of an agent is memory, all right? So we all have memories. Our phones have memory. Our laptops have memory. The same way if you so for example, when you dial numbers, you're able to come back to your call log and see the people you have spoken to. That is a memory. That is a log of what has happened. When you take an action, a log of that action needs to be put somewhere. That's what memory does. So the same thing for AI agents. So first things first, in the Voxella example that we have all interacted with, he has access to a tool. The tool in this case is my Gmail account or a Gmail. The LLM that is doing that processing and talking to me, that's talking to me and you, or sending that email in a natural language or in the natural conversational tone, is OpenAI. That's the LLM backing it. If you have an API key to Claude or to Grok, to what's this Chinese one now? Whatever it is, you can plug it in. But in my case, I plug into OpenAI. Then the memory, when we get to the environment, so memory can be also an external service provider that gives you memory. So yes, basically those are the things that helps agents to work. That helps AI agent. What makes them AI is the fact that it is leveraging a large language model. So you can see. So let's see. So these are agents. This thing that looks like human beings, or this caricature. What do you call these things? You get the gist. So they are your agents. Of course, in this particular one, this is like a multi-agent framework. But don't worry about the multi-agent framework. But these are agents. Typically, what do agents do? They have access to an LLM, a tool, and a memory. It can be a tool or tools. That's why this is in open brackets. So, for example, if you wanted to take it a notch higher to say, send an email to Glory, blah, 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 and book an appointment. So, which means you can give it 2 tools or 3 or 4. So, tool 1 can be Gmail, then Google Meet is another tool. If I wanted my chat phase, instead of me chatting it on the web, if I wanted to be chatting from Telegram, or if I wanted to be chatting from WhatsApp, it's also a tool. So those are tools, right? LLM, we already now know it's memory. So which meant that if we had not discovered generative AI, or we have not discovered LLMs and fine-tune it or make it more comfortable, AI agents may not exist, may never exist. So we needed to have, had LLMs like the OpenAI, the ones given to us by OpenAI or Claude, before an AI agent can come to being. All right. It is with all of this all together that they are now able to interact with the world. Okay. So these are some of the use cases of AI agents in operations. Supply chain optimization. So if you work with a Jumia or a Konga or a Price Pally, the supply chain is typically maybe from farm to the market to the end user, like that, right? So in supply chain optimization, predictive maintenance. So let's say you are in oil and gas and you have a lot of trucks that lift gas and probably goes to deliver it elsewhere. You want to probably monitor the maintenance of your PRMS or the maintenance of your trucks, whether they are your truckheads or your skids themselves or whatever it is, predictive maintenance, right? It could or you own an haulage business, right? As you're logging the data of when you bought the asset, how many miles that's covered, especially if you're doing it in a telemetry way where you don't have to manually record it, you're automatically taking that measurement. AI agents, there are a lot of use cases in that regards, where whether you want to probably send an email to the people that are maintaining your trucks for you, or whether you want it to take another action on your behalf. There are a lot of use cases in operations. Customer support. So for example, if you work in a bank or in a telecoms company, you can imagine how many calls that come in or how many emails that come in every day for you, whether if you're in customer support. So if you need an agent to, first of all, before you even attend to anything, to help you classify emails as they come, to classify it to one that is being urgent, one that is talking. So for example, if you want an agent to classify emails so you can distribute to your team members based on their what's it called now, level of expertise. So maybe you have a team, some team members that are good with just answering questions, or you have another set of team members that are good with troubleshooting, querying databases, finding solutions to specific technical questions. So you may want to implement an agent that can easily classify or label emails as they come. So the agent reads the email and sees that this one, you probably just need to send them a FAQ or a user guide document. Maybe another email, you necessarily need to authorize or need to authenticate who is sending that email. So for example, somebody is saying that I want you to unblock my debit card. You necessarily need to be able to authenticate that it's coming from the real place. So maybe you want an agent to help you quickly classify those emails as they come. So as this is classifying them, you want to give another agent a task to say, as it is coming, I have these different email subgroup or smaller email groups, because I know my team members and their capacity. So the ones that has to do with authentication, debit card, whatever, move it to the people in this mailing group. They will attend to it, as against waiting for all the emails to come and reading through everything by yourself. Those are low-level tasks. You can easily automate it or classify, build an agent that can quickly classify things for you, then distribute it to different internal teams that need to handle them. So those are some use cases in customer support. In human resources, resume screening, employee onboarding, there's a lot. Sales, lead qualification. Oh, I could talk about lead qualification a lot. If you have, for example, you can imagine how many customers an EY or a KPMG or a Deloitte would have, or how many people will probably be sending emails to them or filling the contact us form on their website. So instead of if I'm an account or a client account officer, and instead of me to be receiving it all, why not classify the emails or classify the customers for lead qualification? So that's why and some of these companies are already doing it, because that's why when you're filling that form, they're asking you some questions. What industry are you? You select your industry. What is your company size? They write maybe the number of employees 1 to 9, then they will say 2,000 and above, So depending on how you answer those questions, they already have a system, although that is largely automation, they already have a system in the background that is basically looking at, the one that said 2,000 plus staff members, and this person feel that they are in C-suite executive. Most likely this is a qualified lead, a decision maker, then chase after this person. Do you get? So that's some of the use cases. Okay, so let's so these are how agents drive value, because there's a lot of that, we don't have a lot of time anymore. I'm just going to quickly go and see. We'll do a small example, especially we'll just look at how Voxella was built. Okay. Any questions so far before we go ahead? Any question? You can either raise your hand or leave it in the chat room, in the Q&A section, or in the chat. I'll pick it. I'll answer it before we keep going. Any question, guys? Any question? Okay. So I'll take that as no question. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen again, and we'll be using a no-code tool called N8N, and that's what we'll be using for our AI automation for today. So largely, I'm going to call it AI automation because Can you see my screen? Can you guys see my screen? Glory, can you
Yes,
process
Tayo.
it?
Yes, Tayo. I was having issues on meeting. Yes, the screen
Okay.
is up.
All right, good. Thank you. Okay, so let me open a new tab and show you. So we'll use a tool called NAN, and you can sign up for it in the upcoming class, in the upcoming agentic AI, in the upcoming building AI agents class, where we'll be at least for the period of the what's it called now? For the period of the training, you would have access. We'll share access for you. You would be able to work. You'll be able to work with it firsthand, and you'll be able to understand all of this end to end. Okay, so so this is what the interface or the canvas look like. And like I rightly said, if you remember the agent architecture that I showed us, I said an AI agent, if you look at this side, I said an AI agent is made up of three things. It has memory, it has an LLM, and it has tools. All right. So in this drawing or in this workflow, you can see the LLM, that is the OpenAI model. In memory, I didn't connect it to any memory. Well, it's largely shows you wouldn't have a log of a lot of these things, but I could also plug it into a memory. And so we have a, what's it called now? We have an LLM, we have a tool. So you could see my Gmail. You can see my Gmail send email. So I'm going to attempt to create new, and we're just going to create a personal project. Now, remember what an agent is comprised of. It comprises of an LLM, a tool, and memory. We're just going to replicate what we've done with Voxella. Now, do not forget that is an agent, but before an agent can act, something needs to trigger it. In this case, like you all rightly practiced earlier, in this case, an human being. So in this case, the example of Voxella I gave us, the trigger was a chat. That is, you receive a chat. The agent received a chat, and it was then able to continue. All right. If the agent received the chat, then it was then able to use my Gmail or send the email in my Gmail. Now, so which means you need the first step, the trigger. You need your trigger. Then you need your tool, which is your Gmail. You need your LLM, which is your OpenAI. So in this case, you need an API key. Now, because this is a boot camp, I may not be able to go into the nitty-gritty details of why do you need an API key, what is an API. There are lots to be learned in the course. We would also need to understand some basic things. How do we send things over the internet, right? What's an API? What are webhooks? What are JSON? Because if we're going to be building agents, yes, it is no code. That is, you're not actively coding, but some basic concept of technology or how solutions or how web solutions or web applications work, it's required. So the course starts from the rudiment of what is API, how do they work, how do you connect an API key, how do you test APIs. All of those are covered in the course, but because we do not have a lot of time, I may not be able to walk us through each and every one of it. So the first step in this is you want to have a trigger. A trigger is always the first step. So something needs to wake it up. Something needs to tell it, right? It can be a chat. It can be a call. It can be the trigger could be when an email comes into my box, depending on what use case we're building for. But in this case, we just want to build Voxella again. Very simple. And a personal assistant that sends email on your behalf. So I'm going to add the first step. Now, once I clicked on, okay, let me go back. I clicked on add first step. And so you can see there are a lot of things that can be, triggers, right? You can, the trigger can be it can be when something happens in an app like Telegram, Notion, or Airtable, all right, on an app event. It can be on WhatsApp, whatever it is. You can trigger manually. It can be on a schedule. It can be when a form has been submitted. It can be on chat message. All right. So for this, we'll just duplicate. We're going to say on chat message. So that is our trigger. All right. So basically, the settings, if you like, you are able to access it externally. So I can toggle it on to say make chat publicly available. So what I just did was to just toggle the button. Now, there are chat modes. So I'm just going to say hosted chat because I do not have the luxury of embedding the chat elsewhere, maybe in my own website or on TechWayTech's website. We'll just host it in it's an N8N instance that we're hosting it in. So I'm just going to leave that there. Lastly, if you want the initial message to change, so for example, in Voxella, it says I think the beginning says, my name is Voxella, Time and Place PA for emails. How can I assist you today? This is where you can update that, right? So, hi, my name is Nathan. How can I assist you today? So I just updated it with my name is Voxella. I'm Time and Place. Whatever it is you want your assistant to say, put it here. If you need an authentication, that is, if you don't want people to, even though yes, the link is public, but you don't want everybody to be chatting with it, because for every execution or for every chat, remember you're paying for these things. For every chat, you're paying for OpenAI APIs. You're even paying for the N8N that you're using to build it out. You're being charged, quote and unquote. When I get back to the canvas, I'm going to show you how it is reducing my balance. So maybe you want specific people to be the ones to access you, because I don't want every other person maybe to access my personal assistant, right? Now, so basic auth, that is simple username and password. So, which means you have to probably give them the same one for all users. So, but hey, let me not get out ahead of myself. I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to leave everything here as it is. And this is my chat URL. Now, so that's that. So if you wanted to test the charts, you can come here. So you can see the trigger has been updated when chat message received. If I want to say hi, so you can see that if you notice, it said note executed successfully. In N8N, everything you'll be interacting with, or everything that is executing your workflow, they are called nodes. Again, we're going to get to that. So yes, here we go. You can see I said hi. You have basically tested it successfully. It is working. This particular small box, or I don't know if there's a box, is working. And that's why if you can see it has ticked green. So you have to tell it, so what is the next thing? So this time around, you want to add your agents. You want to add the agent interface. So you can see build autonomous agent, summarize or search document, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just going to pick it. That's the representative for my agent. And now you want to tell it, ask it, so AI agent, generate an action plan, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just going to put it in there. Now, depending on your workflow, in real life, or by the time we're building this, especially, so the entire aim of this course is for you to be able to build an agency by yourself, or build solutions that you can monetize by yourself. Now, this is not all the use case. There are many use cases. It does not necessarily mean after the trigger, then the agent has to come. No, depend on what you're building. Something can come before, something can come after. Depends on what you're building. Okay, so this is my AI agent. Automatically, it has opened up. So there is this interface, or there's this mode interface where you have to, fix the settings. Now, source for prompts. That is, so the agent is asking you, where should I take my instruction from? We're basically saying connected chat trigger node, because it's connected to a chat. So that's where it should take its instruction from. excuse me. Now, I may not be able to go through because this class was supposed to end by 5:30, but let me crave our indulgence. We may have to stay till 6, and that's why I would actually try to wrap up. We can further take the conversation in the LMS, in the chat room or the Google Classroom. If you are not on Google Classroom, please signify, or Glory will send in the chat room now. Glory will send you the registration link to the classroom again, and we'll take it further. Okay, so we're building our agents. It's asking where should we get its instruction from, blah blah blah. And we've set connected chat trigger. So basically, these are parameters. These are all the parameters that we necessarily need to fill. Now I'm going to zoom in. Can I zoom in now, or is it zoom out, so that you can see what we have at the bottom? So you can see it is asking for chat model in the bottom. It is asking for memory, and it is asking for tool. I need to connect those links with it. So I'm going to click on add chat model. So you can use any of the LLMs available to you. You can see DeepSeek, AWS Bedrock, Gemini, Anthropic, Azure, whatever chat model you want to use. OpenAI, you can see OpenAI. So for me, or I have some tokens, or I have some credits in my OpenAI account. Now, I could not go through showing you how you need to open an OpenAI account. Remember, your OpenAI account, for when I keep saying API key or you want to add key, it's not your normal ChatGPT account. There is a platform account for developers. These are things that we'll walk you through. There's a platform account for developers on platform.openai.com. Yeah. You open an account, then you load your wallet. You load your wallet with a minimum of $10. $10 is how much now? Do the conversion. You load your OpenAI wallet. So it is from that $10, because they're pricing to these things for every call or for every execution you have. Although it's minimal, but just so you know. Okay, so I'm just going to say OpenAI chat model, and because in my own account I've added my API key to this account before, and it has. So if you see, you will see credential to connect with. You see OpenAI account because I've already opened. So if I wanted to change to another account, if I had another OpenAI account, I'll say create new credential. If I wanted to change to Gemini, if I wanted to use another LLM, I won't choose OpenAI. I will probably choose Claude or Anthropic or whatever. So because it's already connected to my OpenAI account, and it's asking me which model, because OpenAI has a lot of model that is available to you. So from the list, the one that is most efficient, or that I prefer, is GPT-4o mini. There are a lot more models. All right, so you can see, and depending on your use case, what you want to build. So you can see there are a lot of models within OpenAI. So the audio preview, if it's an audio stuff I'm building, I can basically, and that's what OpenAI platform affords you. I can pick any of these models, right? Okay, so I'm going to leave it at GPT-4o mini. Okay, so I'm not going to touch on any other option here. I just want to connect to OpenAI account. So we're good. I'm going to go back to the canvas. So if you look at here, let's see the canvas we're on now. So you can see under the LLM, remember the thing I talked about with AI agent architecture. I said it has to be connected to tool, to an LLM, and to memory. And you can obviously see it here now. So this is an LLM, this is the memory and tool. So we're going to connect them. Excuse me, please. Give me a second. We're going to connect them shortly. Now, so we're connected to our LLM. In this case, we're using OpenAI, their LLM. Now we'll connect to memory. It's going to ask me which memory. Remember when I was explaining memory, our phones have memory, our laptop have memory. That's how it remembers. It has a log of what we're doing. So in this case, I don't want to, I don't want to go to other memories. N8N gives us access to simple memory. I'm just going to pick simple memory. And I'm likely not going to touch anything here. So we're session ID. So we're still telling you you're connected to chat trigger node. I'm going to leave it as such, and we'll come back to the canvas. And so you can see it now has a memory. So which means if you want to see the logs of activity that is happening with your agents. Okay. Then the last thing is we now want to connect it to a tool, which is our Gmail, because we want it to, what's it called now? Send an email on our behalf. So we're going to connect it to a tool. And we can see there are a lot of tools you can connect it to. So in this case, because there are a lot, I'm just going to quickly search for Gmail. And this time around, I want to search for Gmail, send Gmail, let me go to the one. There is, okay, so there's send email tool. This one is not necessarily Gmail. If you're not using, well, let me just go to Gmail and I'll select what exactly I wanted to. So Gmail tool, consume the Gmail API. So I'm just going to pick that. Now, let's come to, so Gmail. So now another thing, if you notice, it's saying credentials to connect with. Let me zoom in. I'm not entirely sure you all can see. Okay, I'm trying to zoom in, but it's not zooming in. Right. So before now, I've already also connected my Gmail account. There's a particular, so if I didn't want to, if I wanted it to connect to another Gmail account, you just say create new credential, then you come and log into your Gmail account. And you're largely giving it authorization to have access or to act as you within your Gmail email. I hope that is clear. That is why when you all tested Voxella when we started this class, that is why you were able to send it a chat and it sent an email from my email. I hope that is not tautology. That is why it sent an email from my own Gmail, address. All right. So, but because I've already connected my Gmail before now, I'm just going to close this. No, keep editing, because I'm just going to save it because I don't want to use this. So I mean, I already have an account. Just close it. I already have an account, so it says Gmail account too. I already added my Gmail account. All right, so you may have to define. So let's quickly look at the parameters here. You have to define something. So resources message. So in this case, I want you to send a message, right? Let's leave out the other resources for now. We just want to get this workflow. So what's the operation I want it to conduct? I need it to send an email. There are a lot more operations. You may want it to reply an email. You may want it to remove a label. So I need it to send an email. Now there's a toolbox there, but again, remember, we want it to be dynamic. We want it to do it by itself, or depending on what prompt it gets. So I'm going to click this AI, icon to say, let the model define this parameter. So basically defined automatically by the model, because I don't know the email addresses people, if I want people to have access to my personal assistant and I want it to be publicly available, I don't know the email addresses they will put in there, right? So I'm just going to say define automatically by the model. So when the model reads the prompt or the chat, it basically be able to define whatever. If you didn't give it an email, because the only instruction you're giving this chat is to send an email. So it largely is an email address. So if you chat it and you don't give it an email address, it will ask you. That's why it is important to say, let the model define it, because it can think and it knows what it needs. Subject, it can also automatically determine the subject, because you don't want to give it subject, except this particular agent, you're building it for a specific purpose and it will only have one subject in its lifetime. You can put that subject, but because you want it to be dynamic, I'm going to select this to be defined automatically by the model. Now, email type, HTML. Now, there are other email types. It can just be a text, plain text field. message again because you want it to be dynamic. That's why you're building an agent in the first place. So I'm going to say define automatically by model. Which other properties do we have now? Whether you want to BCC or see anybody, whether you want to BCC, you could put it, or you want to copy somebody, you can then put maybe a static email address there. But largely, well, I believe we've done a great job in setting up the parameter here. So we're just going to go back to our canvas and let me zoom in. Can you all see better? Okay, so we're here now, and send message. All right, you can see we're in Gmail, send message. Let's test. So on top of each of these items, this one within this agent node, you can test it out. So let's see. Just not to say you are testing it. So you just want to test that particular item if it is working well. So let me just say again, single tile. We're not on the live environment, or it's not yet working, so you may not. I'm just going to quickly do this. I'm just going to put this. I just wanted to execute that one step and see if it's working. So it said node executed successfully, but it's unable to sign without access token. So let's see. Let's see where an issue might have occurred. Okay, so we are going to attempt to execute the entire workflow and see what could be going on. So I'm going to save this. Any questions so far? Let me come back to our meeting room. Any questions so far? I'm seeing so I joined late. Okay. It appears there are no questions so far. So Glory, if there's any question in the chat room and I'm unable to what's the word now, to see it, please call my attention to it.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, we have one question. The person is asking what's the purpose of the AI agent. The person said you joined late. So, and what is it called? So I'm thinking you can watch the recording in case you don't want to go back.
Yes. Please let them watch the recording. It will really be helpful. Okay. Let's continue. Can you still see my screen?
No.
Okay, well, that's weird. Which screen was I sharing? Just give me a second. Okay, how about now? Can you still see my screen? I'm trying to avoid us getting to 2 hours on this call. So the recording doesn't get long.
Yeah, I can see your screen.
You can see my screen. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, Anita too can see my screen. Let me go back to what we're building. Okay, so yeah, unable to sign without access token. So let me check my credential, my Gmail credential to N8N again to be sure. Let's execute this step to be sure things are still connected. Okay, it is connected now. I selected the wrong account before. So what I just came here is so I had initially said Gmail account 2. This one is not connected to any Gmail account, but the other one is connected. So that's what had happened. So if you notice what happened, once I changed it, you can see an output here. So there's always input and output. Remember, you're giving the agent an instruction. You're giving an agent an instruction, and the starting point is the trigger point. That's when it receives the chat. Then it gets passed to the agent. The agent processes it. Of course, you're expecting an output. So this is an output. So we've just executed that particular one. Okay, so you can see that the sign, the red sign that was there has gone. Okay, so we can save. So simple enough. We have something simple so far. So let me, within this canvas, let me send a message. Send an email to Taya at this. I'm just putting my official email to say thank you for the AI Literacy Bootcamp. It was eye-opening. I will be registering for the full course. Okay, so I made some typo error, but not a problem. All right, so I've sent that. Now, because we gave it a memory, so I need you to see what is happening. Just follow my cursor. Because we gave it a memory, you can see that it's giving, it has a log of what is going on. All right. So, and so this is our input. This is our input. Send an email to Tile. You can see it here, and you can see it said, I've sent an email to Tile expressing your gratitude for the blah 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 and informing them of your instruction to register for the full course. So this is what is, so which means if I toggle this button on to activate this workflow, it will work. And we can see the, if I copy, I think we copied the chat URL. So let me, so we all just built this agent together, right? So I'm going to toggle this workflow. I'm going to activate it. You can now make calls to your production chat URL. So I'm going to, during the class, we're going to, again, remember I said we'll do a lot of, what's it called now? We'll do a lot of rudimentary learning about how web pages or how web solution or applications work. So we'll understand what different environments mean, how you can set up things, how you can host stuff. So, so I'm just going to say, okay, so which means I'm now active. Now I'm going to, now we have our chat is live and we can easily, so I'm going to copy the link, drop it in the chat room for us, and we can keep going. So one thing I wanted to remind us, remember that this NA10 itself, it's a SaaS application, pay as you go kind of application. So it is, if you notice, let me see if I can, it says 36 out of 1,000 executions. So as it is executing that chart, or as it's executing those tasks you give to it, it is counting your executions for you. Once you upgrade your account, I'm not this demo, I'm not doing it on the paid version. The paid version have a lot more opportunities for you. So so I'm going to open this chat node, or this trigger node. I'm going to open it up. I opened it up by double clicking on it. And remember when we toggled on this button, when we say make chat publicly available, the name of my workspace is Neurobyte. And so that's why you will see neurobyte.app, right? Okay, so I'm just going to copy this URL and I'm going to come to the classroom and send it to you all, and you can interact with this agent that we quickly built, right? So I've sent it to you. It's different from Voxella, but it's largely doing the same thing. So let me share my entire screen and open an incognito window. I'm going to open an incognito window. Where is it now? I'm going to open an incognito window, and we'll all see. So you can see so my name is Nathan. How can I assist you today? So I'm just going to say, send an email to, who should we send an email to now? Let's test something. I'm going to say, send an email to Anita, telling expressing my gratitude. Send an email expressing my gratitude for the visit, and I look forward to see her at camp next holiday. Let's leave it that way. Now, let's look. You can see that the agent is thinking, it's just as though you're building. You even know Anita. That's weird. Then the question could be, do you know Anita? Because I expect you to send an email. Oh, I might have had an Anita in my contact. Don't forget that this is connected to my Gmail. So I might have had an Anita in my contact. I'm trying to see have I saved somebody as Anita. But let's look at somebody else. Send. Let me see. Okay, let me say send an email to Glory. So Glory, if you can confirm to me, I'm not sure I saved your email. Send an email to Glory telling her the same also. I will give the email address. Email address is support@techlytics.africa. So let's see that. Okay. All right. So that is a simple assistant that I've already even heard this. I've heard the sound. It has sent it. That is a simple agent that sends an email for you. You can extend building this agent to saying it should respond to people's email, or it should mark an email as spam, or it should forward an email, or it should draft an email. That is when the workflow now becomes big, and you can even have a loop, right? Or define a condition. So yes, so we've been able to, we're 30 minutes past our 5:30 time. So let's see if it sent an email to, okay, yeah, I did send an email to support.
Yeah, I got the mail.
You got the mail. Fantastic.
Yes.
So because it already knows Glory, because I've interacted with Glory before. Then also, okay, sorry, this is something else. All right. So any question? Do we now have a fair idea of how agents work? Because you are going to have assignments. We're going to be having our assignments for this boot camp. So next weekend, we're wrapping up next weekend. So next weekend, anybody that has done theirs, they are going to, showcase their assignment to us. But any questions so far? Any question? Okay, so this is our concluding note to say the key takeaway. So we've moved from rules-based systems to learning systems that adapt and make decisions. Language is key. I told us about NLP, what has made NLP possible, and we've made breakthroughs. I talked to us about generation and analysis when I was talking about bottled water, different kinds of water, learning, and all of that. That is, modern AI, they don't just analyze data, they create new content and find solutions. AI agents can reason, adapt, and act autonomously, unlike traditional automation. All right, you can see, like I was trying to say, send an email to Glory. I don't know, Anita, did you get an email? If you're still on the call, please let me know. So those are the simple use cases of automation, it's an automation system. Autonomy will keep getting better, right? Because it can decide and think about, okay, who's Anita, right? And if I'm unable to find Anita in a contact, because I didn't give it any Anita's email address, but if it's found out, it can go into my contact list and find if there's an Anita there, right? Implementation strategy, that is, success requires careful planning, piloting, and scaling with proper governance. So next week, we're going to be talking more. We're going to be reviewing. I'm going to give us an assignment through Google Classroom, and we're going to be reviewing it more. And we're going to be talking about proper governance around building AI solutions. All right, so that brings us to the end of the class for today. if there are no questions, I have questions, all right? So let me, oh, you didn't get the email. Okay, so it wasn't you then. All right, thank you. And so if you have a question, please, let's take it. And is that, I thought I saw somebody's hand raised up now. Yeah, Priya Jama. Oh, please pronounce your name. Oh, Priya, please raise your hand again so that, Priya, please raise your hand again so I can unmute you again. I'm not even, so Priya, is your microphone connected? Because I cannot find a mic to say you should unmute your microphone. Priya, do you want to check? Is your mic connected? All right, Priya, you can drop your question in the chat room in case you're. Priya, I am unable to ask you to unmute your mic. Glory, please, if you're still on the call, help me see if Priya can. Yeah.
I can't do that too for Priya because I can't find
so
the
Priya,
mic.
your mic is not connected. Anita, please. Yeah, unmute your mic. Anita, you can speak. You already have. So please unmute your mic and speak. Anita.
Yes, so I wanted to ask, so for the AI agents, can we classify chatbots as AI agents as well?
No, the simple, honest, and straightforward answer is that. Sorry? Hello?
No, I didn't say anything.
Somebody's mic is on. So Anita, chatbots that you probably interact with on customers' websites, they are not agents. Remember the architecture of an agent. Yes, those chatbots are relying on an LLM, and they have a memory, but they don't have the tools to execute what you give to them. So for example, if I tell ChatGPT to book an appointment with Glory for tomorrow at 2 p.m. and the meeting should last for 30 minutes, ChatGPT cannot do it because it doesn't have access to my tools, whether it's Google Calendar. He doesn't even know whether there's something on my calendar. So it's not an agent. Until I empower it with tools that it can use to work, that's when you can say you've built an agent. So think of agent, like the name implies, it is something that is running an errand for you. And before they can run that errand, they need access to specific tools to run the errand. So Anita, did I answer your question?
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
All right, thank you too. We still can't, if you're speaking, we're unable to hear you. You are not connected to your microphone on your device, or maybe you did not give permission to the microphone. However, you can put your question in the chat room, or if you want to, if your question is around, or you don't have access to the classroom, Google Classroom, please look through the chat room. Glory had initially put some things there. So Priya, I'm seeing your hand up, but you can't speak because your microphone is not connected. All right. If there are no other questions, we will keep the conversation going in the classroom. Put comments, ask questions, and we will see next weekend. So do not forget, we are starting our building AI agent course next month. That is July 5th to be precise. We have the course is going to be taking it from the rudiment level up to the advanced, where you can build AI agents beyond this very simple one that we built. We're going to be building enterprise agents that you can deploy in your workplace, or that you can monetize by yourself, and build beautiful front-end agent or front-end application that you can easily deploy to customers, whether as lead generation, as sales agent, whatever it is you want to use case you want to use it for, that you can easily monetize or even build an agency out of. All right, thank you everyone for coming to the class today. If you have any question, if you have any question, please, you can shoot us an email at support@techlytics.africa, or you can chat us on Instagram or on WhatsApp. Our WhatsApp number call number is on our website, is also on our Instagram page. So we have our techlytics.africa, our website URL is techlytics.africa. Thank you, everyone. If there are no other questions, we'll call it an evening, and I will say bye-bye and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Glory.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye, Tayo.
Bye.